21-22 भरा नहीं है, मैंने फॉर्म 12 भी निकाला है उसका, फॉर्म 12 भी वो मैंने पूरा निकाल लिया है।
Good morning, guys. It's Navin, John, and Paul. Can you guys hear me? Could you please type in chat window? Great. Thank you, Rahul. Sorry about the delay. Just give me one moment. I was having a little network issue at my end, guys, so the delay in joining. So just give me 1 minute. I had to restart and things like that. Okay, there you go, guys. Sharing the screen now. And let's get started with this one. Okay. So, guys, do any of you happen to have access to AWS or any Linux machine? Is logged into your laptops. Because today we'll be doing a little bit of practicals on Linux along with Python. And what I would like to do is I will ask some of you guys to actually go ahead and type in some of the commands and things. Can you let me know if you have access to AWS is one thing. Second thing, or any Linux box that you have access. Could you please let me know yes or no, please? If you have, just type in yes, otherwise please type in a no. Pardon me. Let's see, Shraddha, Nitish, Rahul. Just type in yes or no, guys. Good morning, guys. Just moved to a new house and things like that. So I'm just settling down, but just bear with me. Let's see. Shraddha, Nitish, Rahul, Humera, Sai. Can you let me know if any of you happen to have access to a Linux box by any chance? We have access to AWS. Okay. Okay, great. Rahul, can you come online, buddy? Can you just unmute yourself?
Hello.
Can you hear me, buddy?
Yes, yes.
And would you be able to kind of share your screen at the time of lab and practicals and execute a few commands and things like that, either you or somebody?
Okay, okay.
You can do it, right?
Okay.
Great, thank you. I'll let you know. I'll get started with a little bit of theory and I'll give you a quick introduction of what is Linux and things like that. As we go along, I will ask you to type in a few commands and so on, so that others will also get a good feel of it if one of you also work on that.
Okay. Okay.
Great. Okay. A little bit of Linux and things like that, because a lot of stuff we'll be doing is going to be based on Linux. And for those of you who are not into Linux, touch of Linux, Rahul, can you ask around if you're all sitting in conference room, can you just ask everybody, or if you have a touch of Linux, just type in yes, otherwise no, please. So that, because at the time of labs, I want to see if I can choose some of you guys who are not much. Some touch of Linux, okay. Oh, one moment. Oh, can you hear me, guys? Rahul, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay, Aniket says he lost me. So, Aniket, I'm just asking who are all the guys who have, sorry about that. If you have touch of Linux, can you just type in a yes, otherwise no? I want to choose those guys who are not much into Linux for the labs and things like that, and so on. Okay, how about others, guys? Aniket, could you coordinate that, buddy? Could you ask everybody to just type in yes or no, please? Sai got it, buddy. How about others? Rahul has a touch of it, okay. How about others? Humera, and who else is here? Let me see. Kajal and Shraddha, Shubham, Aniket or Rahul. I'm not hearing anybody. Any reason? I'm not. Into comments and things like that. Rahul, would you be able to connect to any of your AWS servers?
Okay, sir.
Okay, you keep connecting and bring it on, the Linux prompt and things like that. And I will pass on a few commands. We'll try to do them step by step and get a feel of it. I'll try to keep it a little bit interactive. I will be asking you what each command and things like that, buddy. So just prepare yourself, okay?
Okay, sir.
Great, thank you. So gentlemen, ladies, I hope you guys all had a good weekend and things like that. Looks like yesterday you had some important meetings and so on. So let's continue the journey from today. And let's start with Linux. Linux is an operating system. Operating system is something. It's nothing but a group of programs which most of the time we are used to our Windows operating system, guys, okay? Linux is also a kernel. Kernel is the skeleton of the operating system. The most important thing in a operating system is what it is. We'll try to understand what that means. It was created by Linus Torvalds in 91. Okay, sorry about that, guys. About that, guys. I'm having some network issues. I'm up to Greetings, guys. Lakshmi, if you're there, could you please make me the host, please? Great, thank you, Lakshmi. Sorry about that. And let's see, back to participants. There you go, co-host. Nitish, if you're there, buddy, can you make me the host, please? There you go. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Running into network issues. Sharing the screen again. Let's give it a try now. Please bear with me. I have moved to new location, guys. Okay. Okay. So distribution Linux kernel plus additional software. Each is nothing. Distribution is nothing but the skeleton plus additional software. Additional software is nothing but a group of programs. As simple as that. Okay. And each distribution can have a different focus. We'll try to understand what we mean by that one. And many distributions available to choose. There are multiple distributions, short and sweet, guys. Let's see what they are. These are the different kinds of distributions. There are close to 70 or 80 distributions in Linux based on their needs and requirements. People have been. No. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. So these are some of the major distributions, guys. The top one being Red Hat. Next followed by Fedora, Ubuntu. We will use Ubuntu, CentOS and things like that. CentOS is an open source version of the Red Hat. Moving a little ahead. So why Linux, guys? It runs on many hardware platforms. It is a little bit less GUI oriented, but very powerful, far more powerful, far more stable and consistent compared to the Windows has been the thinking is. So it has smaller footprint, very stable, very reliable and secure. That is why we see most of the complex systems are generally based on Linux systems. Even if you take something like satellite systems and things like that also, they are mostly based on Linux-based systems, guys, okay? They're great for servers because of their stability. It's free and open source. And there's a lot of choice and freedom in Linux, guys, okay? Moving a little ahead, Linux is nothing but an operating system. At the heart of the operating system is the Linux kernel. So in other words, kernel is a skeleton, kernel is the heart of the operating system. Linux is the layer between the applications and the hardware. So it is acting, kernel is acting like a bridge between the software and the hardware is also another way to think of it, guys, okay? And Linux can be used as a server or a desktop. Most of the times we say we will use it as a server. Distributions are implementation of Linux, each with their own goals and focus. As I said, different companies with minor modifications, they have come up with different kinds of distributions, but at the core, they all have Linux kernel. So most of the Linux commands will be common and they will work in most of the distributions. Everybody doing okay? Quick yes, please. Could you give me a quick yes? Let's see, Rahul, Nitish, Shrishal. Okay, thank you, guys. So there is the Linux. Linux is operating system. Distribution is nothing but additional software. And distribution of flavor is also referred as a distribution. A different flavor of Linux is nothing but the same as distribution. So the web browser and the email clients, they are the part of the additional softwares. They're not part of the kernel, they're part of the additional group of programs and things like that. If you take Windows, generally when we buy a Windows laptop or a desktop, we get tens and tens of Windows programs installed as part of the Windows operating system, guys, okay? So those are all additional. The kernel is the core, the kernel is the skeleton, another way to think of it. Linux kernel plus apps is the distribution, it's referred as a distribution. So the kernel is a skeleton, it's a bridge between the software and the hardware. On top of it, the email clients and web browsers is generally what we use on a daily basis, guys. The most popular ones are the Red Hat and Ubuntu. Red Hat used primarily in banks, financial domains, airlines, telecoms, healthcare. That is the top distribution. The open source version of Red Hat is generally CentOS, guys, that is, and we'll get touch of that also. So Ubuntu, again, popular in startup SaaS, social networks, it's also cloud-based. But when we need additional support and things like that, Red Hat comes to our rescue, has been my observation. Linux isn't just for business. You can use it for games. You can use it for other kinds of things. These are the other kinds of examples or distributions of Linux that are available, guys. I don't need to read everything here, but just a FYI. Linux concepts are universal. In other words, if you know the core concepts of the Linux, they will work no matter which distribution we are using. Each distribution is slightly different. There's a subtle difference, just like cars are all the same, but with subtle differences in different aspects in their seating, in their luxuriness and things like that. But at the core, everything is a car. All the cars are car, is what we can think of, guys, okay? You can make, so in other words, you can make a wrong choice, means Linux is good, guys, as simple as that. Okay, Linux distribution is nothing but the skeleton plus additional group of programs referred as software. RHEL, Red Hat, and Ubuntu are the most popular ones. CentOS is nothing but Red Hat, kind of open source. If you're not taking the branding, in other words, you remove the branding and the logos and things like that, that is nothing but CentOS. Cool. To connect to any of the Linux machine, we generally use secure socket shell. We'll see what that means in the coming up days. Windows PuTTY. In other words, PuTTY we can use when we are connecting from Windows machines to Windows or any other machines to Linux machines. And on Mac or we have what is called a terminal, is what we use to connect over the network there. So here is PuTTY. We'll try to have a look at the PuTTY. We can go to putty.org. If you just type in PuTTY in Google, it should take you to the link and you should be able to execute the, download the putty.exe and execute. This is how the PuTTY will look. We'll see in a moment when we connect to the AWS servers and things like that, guys, okay? So using the PuTTY, what we generally do is we go ahead and give the name of the, or more precisely the IP address or the host name of the Linux machine. There it is, that is the host name, and then we can also use the username or the password, or for AWS we will go ahead and use the private key and the public key. We get a message like this, and these are just some quick screenshots, guys, but we'll actually, we can save that and we connect to the servers like that, guys, okay? And we can adjust these things, come here. So there it is, exit and so on. So that is how these are some of the tools used for connecting over the network. If you have physical access or if the Linux system is running in a VM, log in directly. VM is nothing but a virtual machine. It is like a software program which sits on top of a Linux operating system or a Windows operating system, and it works like a machine. So it is referred as a virtual machine. Virtual means it is not really there physically, but it acts like a machine, so it is referred as a virtual machine. We'll talk much more details about the virtual machines in the coming up days and the cloud concepts and things like that, guys. So just bear with me. For now, think of virtual machine as like a machine, a program which is acting like a machine in a normal operating system. And to log in over the network, we can use as such secure socket shell, PuTTY. We've just seen that, discussed that. So we can connect directly to the virtual machine. Later, we'll also connect to one or two virtual machines and try to play around with them and things like that, get feel of that. We can use VirtualBox. We can also use VMware. These are the hypervisor tools, referred as hypervisor tools, which run multiple virtual machines on a single machine. Again, these are the concepts in cloud computing, which we will talk in coming up days, guys. But a quick introduction. So here is VirtualBox, but let me see. Come back here. What I would really like to do is, okay, I'll skip that part of it. Let's get a quick touch of some of the basics. These are some of the, for the sake of discipline, we'll just quickly run over these things one time, guys. And if we quickly run over these things one time, that should be once in a lifetime. It is a good idea to have an idea about these things, guys. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So there it is, common directories. Rahul, by chance, are you logged into the AWS, buddy?
Yes, yes, I have logged in.
Please stand by. Let me cover these things. Then we'll actually look at each of these things, and we'll just have a quick walkthrough of those things, buddy. Okay. So
Okay, okay, sir.
it's great. Thank you, Rahul. These are the top level directories which we need to have a slight idea. The slash is referred as root. Again, I will ask those of you who are not much into Linux, just kind of for a day or two, if I say slash is root, just by heart it. And in coming up days, we will work a lot with it. That will become a more of natural process. Bin is a directory where all the binaries are saved. etc, where all the configuration files are saved. And later we'll use Ansible, and we'll try to work some good stuff, good labs and things like that, where we will automate it. Earlier, I think someone were asking how to create these AWS servers on things like that programmatically. More than using Python, Ansible comes to our rescue, guys. That's a configuration management tool. It's much more higher level than Python, and things become more easier. We'll discuss that in the coming up days, guys. Okay. So home is where all the home directories, all the users are directories are generally saved here. OPT, optional or third-party software, or any additional programs, web browsers, email clients, any additional programs can be saved here. TMP is a temporary space. User-related programs, again, are different kinds of set of programs which are commonly used by the user. So this is like C program files, Windows, or C program files, or the Windows program files in a Windows operating system, guys. Okay. And var is variable data, log files, and things like that are saved here, guys. Okay. So quick look. So these are the top level directories generally. You will see, they will be floating around in a Linux world and so on. Again, a quick look at a hierarchical look at these. I think the top one is called the root, guys. Okay. On the home, you will have JSON tab. Oh, holy cow. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. Some carpentry was going on, and I asked them to stop that. Okay, so top level. So home is where we will find different kinds of users, usernames. So if you log into your Windows operating system, take a look at this, guys. Here is, if you're able to see my screen. So here is C drive. Under C drive, you will generally find users directory. And let's say here is users. And if you look here, admin, guest, all these things. So this users directory is like this one, the home. Under there, different kinds of usernames as we create. We'll see how to add the users, delete the users, and things like that. All those get created here, is what it is. Again, a quick look. And each user will have their own documents, downloads, music, and so on, guys. Okay. So that's a slightly, apart from that, CD-ROM. That's where the drives and all those things will be read as. Control groups, device files, any additional drivers and things like this are saved here. You don't need to by heart them. Just hear me out once and so on, guys. Okay. So there it is. Again, hierarchical look, the same thing, I think, device, etc. Okay. Export shared file systems. This is referred as a home directory. Library file system, library system. At a system level, scripts and all those things are saved here. And lost plus found. This is like our, what is that? Recycle bin, I think, guys, is what it is. You'll find different names and different distributions and so on. Media again is any additional drives, CD-ROMs and things like that are under the media. And MNT, mount to external file system. So mount is where you're connecting to additional drives. A common server or a common drives and things like that is what is mount. Optional third-party software, proc, running process and things like that, a group of other scripts and so on. Slash root, that is the home directory of the root account. The root account is like the administrator account in Linux world. Okay, it is like the system administrator or the Windows administrator. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Let's see. Root has been system administration. So one of the things is root is nothing but the administrator. That is something I will ask you to manually remember. As simple as that, guys. Okay. SC Linux again. I don't remember SC Linux, but some Linux related files and so on is that directory. Then we have a few more directories and folders that are commonly used. The WW, that's where the Nginx server, all those things will get installed and the files and everything will be referred. That is what we'll be commonly seeing in the coming up days, guys. FTP is again for transferring files. Many times you're working with the clients, they have a large group of files and things like that. So FTP is a file transfer protocol, which is much more faster than the traditional protocols. It will allow us to transfer the files much more fastly, quickly, and it has its own shortcuts and things like that, guys. Okay. So the FTP related file software are in those directory. Few more directories use a bin again. I will not read out everything, but one of the important directories is the log files. When we install complex applications, big data applications like maybe Hadoop, the Openstack and things like that, the log files are generally located around these log folder, guys. Okay. A few more again, folders here and there. We might come across these folders. So that is the Google. If you install Chrome versus Google Earth, these are the folders it creates, and that's where these things are maintained, guys. Okay. Let's go. So that is a summary. These are some of the important directories that we need to have an idea about and so on, guys. Okay. Applications that are not part of the base operating system can be installed in the local directory. So different administrators will install different in different locations, guys. Some may install everything in opt versus some may install in a local folder. It is not a hard and fast rule, but based on the common practices that are used by the system administrators, they may decide to use a different location, guys. Okay. And there is a shell, and these are some of the commands of Linux. We'll quickly go over these things in a moment and so on, guys. Okay. So before I go on to these things, Rahul, can you quickly share your screen, buddy? We'll just have a quick look at these directories and then I'll come back to a little bit of theory.
Okay, sir.
Rahul?
Yes, sir. Am I audible? Hello.
Hi, hello.
Sorry about that, Rahul. Okay.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, buddy. Can you share your screen, please?
Okay.
Great. Please connect to your, okay. Is this your AWS or is this a local Linux box?
It is a Git bash. I have connected to Git bash.
Git bash, okay. You're from.
This is a Ubuntu server. Ubuntu 20.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can. So you're on Windows and you connected to Git bash is what it is, it? Huh?
Yes.
Very good.
I'm on the Windows.
Very good, buddy. So let's say in Ubuntu, I think what I had was reference to the Red Hat, but let's say start with, let's say CD, just type in CD/, go to the root directory. Okay. And just say ls, say ls-ltr. Okay, so these are the folders and the things that we are we were quickly looking at and discussing this. And if you are connected to Git bash, I think rest of them will need to install Git bash. Did you install Git and that's how you install Git bash?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Do you think others have GitHub installed, Rahul? Do you know if rest of them have Git and Git bash installed?
Maybe they all have.
Okay, that's okay. If it's a maybe, then I can understand. Okay, don't worry, guys. I'll show you how to connect to the AWS and things like that, just in case. And for now, just we'll have a quick look at these are the folders, guys. I don't think we need to go into everything, but let's say, let me come here. SSH Linux default. Linux and so on. Okay, looks like let me. Okay, give me. I'll take back the control one more time, Rahul. I just wanted to get the feel of it, and then I'll give you back in about 5 minutes once I cover a little bit of theory. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And let me come back here. Let me share my screen. Sharing it. Say yes. And let's say not that one. Here we go. Let's say share. Okay. So the command line interface, it is the CLI. That's where we type in all our Linux commands and so on, guys. It is the default interface to Linux. This is how it will look like. So it looks like our friend Rahul is connected to Ubuntu. This is based on CentOS is what we have connected earlier, but the command should be the same, guys. Okay. So a little bit of theory. The default interface to Linux is nothing but the shell. It is a program that accepts your commands and executes those inputs. It's like our input command in Python, if you recall, guys. Okay, so it will, we enter some programs. Into some programs, also called a command line interpreter, and the command line is powerful. It is less GUI driven, but more commands driven. There will always be command line. In other words, the GUIs might go away, but the commands will be there. Command line will be always be there. Server distributions do not include GUIs, means servers are generally based on command line. That is why it is important, or it is useful and helpful if we are able to get used to the command line interface, guys. Okay. Desktop distributions are GUIs and CLI. So mostly the client level computers like our laptops, which are mostly used by people like us, are generally more GUI driven than command line driven, whereas Linux is much more server level driven, guys. Okay, so there is wikipedia.org. Okay, I don't know why I had that, but let's see. Here is root, guys. If you are looking at this one on the left hand side, let me bring up my this one tool here. Quickly bring this up. Okay, so if you take a look at this, that is the username that we are logged in. This is the username that Jason has logged in. When you log in, generally in the command line, the prompt will come like that. It is generally $. If you're seeing a hash as a command prompt, which we'll see in a moment, you're generally the root is what it is, guys. Something to be aware of. That's what we'll see in a moment, guys. Okay. Root is all powerful. In other words, it's the super user, the system administrator, the topmost administrator. Normal accounts can only do a subset of the things root can do. So in other words, if you're not an administrator, you're able to do only a few things is what it is. So a little bit about the root. Root access is typically restricted to the system administrators. It may be required to install, start or stop an application. An application could be a software or other kinds of services that we will see. Root level users, guys. Okay. They install the applications and they hand it over to the other users after configuring their users, permissions, groups, and things like that, which is what we'll quickly discuss. Day-to-day activities will be performed using a normal account. And there it is, guys. If you're seeing $, you're probably not a root user. Your JSON is a normal user. If you're seeing a hash as a prompt, generally you are probably logged in as a root user, guys. Okay. It can also be a person. It can also be a greater than. So something to be aware of. I will not spend too much of time on them, but just getting you familiar, guys. Okay. So for JSON, it will be home JSON. For pad, it will be home. But for root, it will be /root, the home directory. And for FTP, it is under SRV and FTP. And that could also be a different one in different compute, in different organizations, guys. So there it is again, $, and let's say, what else we have? Multi-line prompts. You can use multiple level. You can use just a %. or whatever you like is also, it is configurable, guys, but most of the times you leave it as dollar, or maybe dollar is what is common thing. Shell is the default user interface. The shell is a place where we type in our commands, and we use the terminal application to get this command line interface. So terminal is what Rahul was just showing us, where we type in our commands. Shell prompts can vary greatly in appearance. Root is the super user. Cool. These are list of common commands. ls is listing directory, change directory, present working directory. These are some of the things. We'll quickly go over them. We'll not spend too much time, but because on a daily basis we'll be doing these things, guys. Little complex commands we will later spend a little bit more time, and we'll get into a little bit more of depth and so on. Okay, so let's see, come back here. Rahul, back to you, buddy. Please share your screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Yeah, good, buddy. So let's say start with ls. Okay, that's a list of directories, guys. ls space -l. So if you notice, guys, this is a long listing of all the directories, and let's see. Hold on. Okay, so long listing. So I just wanted to quickly explain a directory versus link, a symbolic link and a directory. So if you're noticing, can you highlight that D versus L, Rahul, on the left-hand side, showing that it's a link, symbolic link versus directory? Let me see. Okay. Okay. Let me bring this up. Okay. So Rahul, let me do this, buddy. Let me stop sharing here, and I'll share my screen one more time. Just bear with me. Sorry about that.
Okay.
A few concepts I'll explain, and then we'll continue.
Okay.
There you go, guys. That is git bash. And when we do an ls-l, let's see, here is where I typed in ls-l. Notice here, if it starts with a D, that's a directory. These are the read, write, and execute permissions. We'll talk in detail in coming up days for the user. Next, we have the read, write, and execute permissions for the group. Next, we have read, write, and execute permission for the rest of the users, or the rest of the world is what it refers to. So let me bring up my tool here one more time. Can you see my tool, the sketch tool, Rahul? Or you will see the sketch tool?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just making sure. So we get just this one. Put this here. And let me come back here. Snap it. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So notice here, if it says a D, that's a directory. If you see a hyphen, that is a file. And if you see an L here instead of D or an R, that's a symbolic link. And we'll try to understand what is symbolic link. And next one is, let's say I come here, choose this one. If you see this part of it, this is read, write, and execute. RWX is read, write, and execute for the users. The next one is read. This is for the group. A group is nothing but a group of users, so it can be thought of as a group. And this part of it is read, and hyphen means no write permissions, but they have execute permissions. And the last one is rest of the world. The remaining, the right-hand side part of the read, write, and execute is for the rest of the world. So this one is telling you whether something is a directory or a file. This one is telling you the user's permissions. This is telling the group's permissions. This is telling the for the rest of the world or the rest of the users is what it is. And then that is, I'm logged in as admin here. Let me see. This is the size of the file in bytes. We can also get them in kilobytes, megabytes, and things like that. Next comes the date and the time. Straightforward. And the next one is just the name of the file. Okay, this is referred as the long listing. Long listing of files is what it is. Then let me come back here, a few more commands back here, long listing. And okay, so something to be aware of is, if you come back here, just type in a capital. If you type in ls, it is okay, it will give you a list of files. If you type in capital ls, it won't work. Capital L, oh, the git bash is working. Okay, so generally in normal kernel, it is case sensitive, it would not work, but looks like git bash, it is working, guys. Okay. Ideally that would give an error. So step by step I have typed in here, and then let's say cd. Okay, let's see. pwd is present working directory. I'm here in this directory. If I do an ls, there are different kinds of directories, bin and things like that. So let's see where we'll go. cd tps reports. Okay. So say cd. Let's go to tmp. cd stands for change directory. ls. These are all the temporary directories on the folders. ls-l. Bunch of them. Lots of directories and lots of directories here. So again, pwd. This is where we are. If we do a cd space dot dot, we are going to the parent directory. Okay. I come back here. Stop to share. Share this again. Okay, there you go. Oops, one more time, sharing it. Okay, guys, move a little ahead and let's see what else we have. ls, a long listing, and let's say take any one file, ls-l. Let's take uninstall.dat release notes node. So take a look at this, guys. Here is a cat release notes. What cat is going to do is it is going to output everything. Whatever is in the file, it is going ahead and showing us. So cat is the command name for that, guys. Okay. And this is all the HTML stuff which is inside the file. So let me come back here, ls-l. So here is the HTML, that is a bunch of them. Rest of them are zero bytes. That is nothing but the size. They're all directories. That's why it says they're 0. But let's see, I'm going to just cat one more file. Let's type in uninstall. Say cat unins 001.m. Let's see what it is. Some message inside it related to Git and GitHub and things like that, guys. And let's see what else we have. Then we have echo $path. Okay, so clear. We'll clear the screen. And we'll say echo path. Notice, whatever you say echo, let's say you say echo. Echo means it's just echoing or printing it back on screen. Let's say Mera Bharat. There is Mera Bharat, but more precisely, when you say echo, we generally try to understand what is $path. So what are these things? There are a lot of programs installed. Path is like an environment variable. Environment variable is generally used by the softwares, the programs, other kinds of programs that we are installing and running and things like that. And we generally add a newly added software into the path so that the shell can find it, guys. Again, that's a slightly deep one. I'll explain that to you. So here is Spark, C, Spark, and bin. That's a big data program. And when you say Spark, it will be able to pick up the path of it from here. Spark -shell, or maybe I think I'll just type in Spark there. Command not found. So ideally, I think I was playing around with Spark and things like that. But if you just type in Spark, the Spark shell should open up. And what the Linux is doing is behind the scenes, it is seeing. I think I may have deleted this folder, but it sees for Spark here and picks up the spark.exe in this particular directory. is what the path is, guys. So we'll come back to the path variable again. But let's say, okay, another one, let's clear it. Here is ls. Ls is giving you a list of commands, but here is man ls. Man is like manual. Oh, man doesn't work here. May come back here. Back here. So let me do this. Log in here. Rahul, are you able to see my AWS screen?
No, sir. It is the only git bash screen is visible.
Okay, one moment, please. 4xwf78. Submit this. Password. Try this one. GC 3C 3R. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the share here. Connecting to my AWS console. Let me just bring it up. Here is the AWS console. Let's give it a moment. And if I go into the instances, let's see, this is one of the instances, guys. I connect to one of the instances. So it looks like I have 3 of them running. And may I click here? This is a controller. So let me select that one. Select the IP address. Copy this one. Okay. Let's say Rahul, do you have Putty installed on your computer?
No, not right now.
Okay, I want you to connect to this IP address, buddy. So what you can do is you just share your screen and go to google.com, please. I'm going to stop.
Okay.
Copy this one. Very good. So I'm going to copy the IP address of this one and paste it in the chat window. Please download Putty. Just download Putty, P-U-T-T-Y. There you go. Okay. So guys, just have a look at how Rahul is downloading Putty. It should be a pretty straightforward way to install Putty. Oops. Okay, let's give me 1 minute here.
What is the username, sir?
Oops.
Hello.
So I think you are logging in. So what I did was I will pass on a file here, the private key. You can direct private key. Give me one moment here. Let's see where are the attachments here. So there it is from Google Drive. Okay, so I think I need to just share this one back to Google. I've given you access to the Google Drive, right, Rahul?
Okay.
Please go back to the Google Drive where I have given you access. Say, sign in. So next. Oh, what is happening? Say yes. Almost there. So going back to my drive, back in the folder NSCIT, Rahul.
Okay.
You can, yeah, there you go. You're in the folder NSCIT. See if you can get to that folder. Share with me. This is my drive. Share with me. 00_NSCIT. Let me add this file. So file, upload. I think it's downloads. Ansible K1.ppk. Okay, let me share this one, Ansible one. I have uploaded a file called Ansible_K1.ppk.
Okay.
Download the file anywhere, and now go back to the putty. You may have to close the terminal and reopen putty.
Yeah.
So you can just type in putty, it'll bring it up. Yeah. Now here, paste the IP address that.
Yeah.
Then on the right hand side SSH, then go to the auth. Now browse that ppk file. Downloads here. Open. Now click on. Now go back to the session and just save this one for a moment, just so that if you go all the way up again, scroll up, session. Now just say save. Now say open. Okay, just type in Ubuntu. Authenticating. Okay.
Yes.
So when so in the coming up days, maybe we'll follow a similar process, connect to the IP addresses and things like this. We are sharing a private key and a public key. I will again explain, but today I will focus a little bit on the commands, Rahul. So just we'll focus on the commands today. Okay.
Okay.
What I want you to do is I want you to just type in first type in ls. Then say, so no directories are there, pwd, present working directory. You can increase the font size of this one, Rahul, if you right click, yeah, there you go. Change settings and select the terminal, start with appearance, window appearance. And they change change that to 18. Choose 18. Click on OK. Click on apply. Much larger, as simple as that. Okay, now PWD, you're here. So just do, no, we'll just say man space ls. Okay, guys, so that is your man is manual, like a manual or a document or a help. It is saying it's a list of directory, it's listing directory contents is what it is. Any command we can use man, we can use help, and we can use more or less. Those are the commands we'll quickly touch. We'll try to touch them today, guys. So this is man, man is for manual. If you just, I think you do a space there, it'll scroll down, page down, space is a page down, do a Q. Q will quit. Okay, so that is man, guys. And next one, let's say PWD. Okay. LS. LS we have seen. Environmental variables. Okay, just type in echo space $path. In caps, path is in caps, echo space $path in caps. Let's see. So there it is, guys. Much more short and sweet rather than the git bash and things like that. And so path is an environment variable. For now, just remember that as environment variable, guys. We'll revisit that. We'll try to understand a little more detail. And let's say, okay, let's say just type in Hadoop, HADOOP. Enter. So notice, guys, command not found. So Hadoop is a program. If that program is not installed, you will generally see command not found. Just type in git, git. Git is automatic. Looks like they have automatically installed. So this is git program, a version control system, and so on. We'll talk later. So that is installed. Just say man and space git. Let's see if it gives that. There it is. So it is the Git is a content tracker. It is a fast scalable distributed revision control. That is a brief description of that. So that is man. One more time, Git is a program which is installed here. And do a quit, please. Okay, let's see what else we have. So the next one is, let's say, which space ls. Okay. So notice when we are typing in the ls, guys, what is happening is ls is a program here under the directory user bin ls. And what is happening is Linux is executing that particular script or executable, or more precisely, it's probably script and things like that. Just say ls-l /user/bin /user usr/bin. And let's say a bunch of them will come up. Then just use up arrow, bring up the same command. Use the up arrow, bring and just say ls. No, just ls right there. Yeah. So it should bring up that particular listing, and it's notice it is a file. It's starting with a hyphen on the left hand side. It is a file, and it's a script file, something like that. And it has been the root is the one which has the permissions on that, guys. So in other words, short and sweet, when we write these Linux commands, what is happening is they are nothing but the scripts or they are like the executables under the directory user and bin is something to be kept in mind. Rahul, are you catching it, buddy?
Yes, sir.
How about others, guys? Sai, Humera, and others who are not much into Linux, are you able to follow? Are you able to catch up with me? Can you give me a quick yes, please? So Linux may look a little bit deep and a little bit difficult, guys, but just keep me posted if you're finding it something difficult and things like that. Please feel free to take the help of Rahul. He may be able to give you a little bit of direction and so on, if you have small issues and things like that. But as we focus a little bit more on Linux in the coming up days, you'll also become a bit more comfortable. And that is, we'll try to keep that as one of our goals, guys, okay? So please keep that in mind and so on. And back to, let's say, what do we have? Okay, which we have looked at that, path we have looked at that, then we have looked at that, get help, okay. Let's say another one, ls space hyphen help, Rahul. Hyphen help, HELP. LP. people.
Help. Okay.
Yeah. So there's another detailed way of getting the help on the Linux commands. If you scroll up, you're able to see these things. So what is each option? ls-a. What does it? It'll show all the hidden files and so on. It gives you a much more detailed listing. This is another way to get help. A much more detailed help is another one, guys. Okay. Then let's say just type in ls space -a. ls space -a. And there it is, guys. So ls, if you just do ls, please. So notice, guys, what we are observing is when you say ls, which is you're asking it, hey, give me a list of files, it doesn't show you anything. But when you say ls-a, it is showing you all the hidden files and the directories. Okay, so what is this .bash, .rc, .cache? If something is starting with a dot, that means it's a hidden directory or a hidden file, is what it is. Bash rc, these are all the profile files we'll discuss. All our defaults are set into these things by default by Linux kernel. And based on some standard practices, the root administrator may configure some common home directories and things like that in these files, guys. Okay, but short and sweet, the focus is ls-a. It is showing you the list of all the hidden files is something to be kept in mind. Everybody with me? Nitish and Sai, catching it, guys? Okay, just type in gzip and enter. Gzip, G for God, zip, zip, enter. So compressed data not written to a terminal. So in other words, it's a program. Gzip is a program. Now type in gzip -h. Okay, notice it's giving you the possible commands. Gzip is nothing but zip in Windows, guys. We have to zip the files and things like that, large files, folders, and things like that. We use gzip. But gzip -h is what the command. Just type in history. History. So notice now, guys, these are the list of commands that our friend Rahul has been typing. Scroll up a little bit. Okay, these are the commands which have been typed by other users and things like that. Somebody else is playing here. It looks like. So now what you do, so notice the last command is history. Let us say, if you take a look at 34, highlight 34 line. And what is special about this 34 is that is the 34th command, which was typed on this machine. Now what we'll do is just say exclamation 34. No, exclamation. The symbol exclamation 34. So now what that is doing is that is ls. That is just type in exclamation 33. That is going to execute that particular. So notice, guys, it's as if you have executed ls-a. We're seeing a list of dot files here is what it is. That is a shortcut. If you have a long command somebody has run and you suddenly logged in, it will save us a little bit of time and things like that. You can constantly keep looking at the history about the previous list of commands and just get a touch of it. Now what you do is just type in history space greater than, history space greater than, it's less than, space, just type in h.txt, no, txt, T for Tom. Enter. So notice, guys, now do an ls. So notice the h.txt has been created. Now say cat h.txt. So now notice cat is displaying all those things. All the commands that we have been typing so far, Rahul has been typing so far, as a reference we have saved. The greater than is a redirect. We'll talk about that. It is redirecting all those things and saving it to a h.txt file. And we just have it as a reference, just in case in the future we want to look at these commands and things like that, guys. Okay. These are some of the basic commands. Some of them we may have to explicitly remember, but majority of what we have typed today.
1 minute, sir. Sorry.
No problem. I come back here. Get help. Okay. So good one. Just one more minute. I will grab the share from you. Let me cover a few slides here and we'll go back. So there it is, guys. Formal documentation. Man is used to display the documentation. $path controls your search path is the formal way of saying it. It is called environmental variable. That is something I will ask you to manually remember. Ask for commands for help. So in other words, for help and things like that, we will use man. Examine your $path environment variable. So in other words, that's what we have done. Echo $path means it will give us the settings or whatever is set. And pick a few commands that look interesting. Man, help, here some of the things that we just looked at. Working with the directory guys. How to use the directory shortcuts, $path, how to create, how to add the directories, how to move, delete, cut, copy, and paste are some of the operations that we can see. And the dot is this directory, dot is parent directory, CDs, change directory. Again, we don't need to by heart it. We'll be repeatedly performing these operations. Is what it is, guys. Okay, slash. So when you say slash user slash home, what we are looking at is nothing but the directory separator is as simple as that. Okay, back to you, Rahul. Okay. Okay, just are you inside the man page? Yeah, just quit it. Now, there you go. So the next command, let's say, we'll try, just type in pwd. So now what we'll do, you say cd space dot. So notice guys, enter. Now say pwd slash, sorry, pwd, yeah. So notice guys, earlier we were in home Ubuntu directory, now we're in the home directory. Can you highlight home Ubuntu please, just for sake of discipline? That's the home directory we are in. Earlier in the previous line, if you notice, we were in home Ubuntu directory. Now just type in ls. Okay, Ubuntu is the directory. Under home, we have only one directory. So now what we'll do, say ll. Okay, notice guys, Ubuntu, it starts with a D. D means directory. Dot is current directory. Dot is parent directory. So again, do cd space dot. And now say pwd. So notice guys, we are in the slash directory. We are in the root directory, as simple as that. Now say ll. A bunch of directories will come up. So these are all the common libraries that that are there in the as part of the Linux guys. Okay, say cd slash home. Okay, so pwd. There it is guys, we're in the home. Then again say cd slash, no, now what you do, just type in cd and notice what happens guys. Enter and now say pwd. Notice, no matter in which directory we are, guys, if you just say cd, it will put you back into your Ubuntu directory. If you're seeing, Rahul, highlight the Ubuntu on the left-hand side in that line. Yeah, highlight that. So what is that? That is the username that we are logged in. Generally, whatever username we are logged in, it will show up there. And when you say cd, no matter in which directory you are. So in other words, Rahul, please do cd space slash. Enter. So notice guys, pwd, we are right now under the root. Now again, just type in cd and enter. Present working directory. So notice it has put us back into our home directory. Our home directory is whatever is the username. Our username is Ubuntu, and no matter in which directory we are, or in other words, If you are in a different directory, it will put us back into our home directory, which is a /home/ our username, which is Ubuntu. Everybody else catching it, guys? Sai, Kajal, Himera, are you catching it? Quick yes, please. Rahul, are you doing okay, buddy?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry if you're already familiar with that, but for the sake of others, guys. Okay. So that is the CD change directory. Then we have full path, full command. Then what we have looked at dot. Okay. So the cat directory we have seen. Okay. Let's play around with creating a few directories. Now you're in the Ubuntu folder. So let's say make dir mkdir dir1 dir1 dir. Okay, that's okay. Just say ll. So notice now what we have is h.txt. What did you do? ll. It's also giving it. Just say ls. Okay, so if you notice h.txt is a file that we created a few minutes back. dir1 is the directory. mkdir is just creating a directory, as simple as that. In Windows, you right click that and you say create folder, create new folder. Here we say mkdir dir1 is created. Just say ls space dir1. ls space dir1. Okay. Notice no files are there. We just created the directory. Yes, that's how we create a directory. Then say mkdir space dir1/dir2/dir3. Small ones is good. Yeah. dir1/dir. No, slash. Not space, slash. dir2/dir3. Press enter. So our object is we want to create this path. We want to create a parent directory, a child directory, and a grandchild directory dir3, but it cannot create it directly like that, guys. Okay. So now use your up arrow, bring up the same thing, and just put mkdir-p. In between, just say -p. Enter. So now, if you say ls, notice dir1 is created. No, just ls. So dir1 is created. Say ls space dir1. I'm sorry, dir1. Yeah, enter. You should see a dir2. Now bring up the above arrow and say dir1/dir2. Notice dir3. In other words, when we say mkdir-p, guys, what it is doing is it is forcing. If the directory is not there, it is forcing and creating the directory. Kumera, Sai, are you catching it, guys? Good. Now say rmdir dir1. No, that's it. And so notice, because dir1 already has another directory, it will not be deleted. So say rm-r. No, rm.
Okay. RM.
Center. And now do an ls. So notice, guys, dir1 is deleted, and recursively whatever is inside that file, all of those things are deleted. So one more time, just do a history. Type in history. Enter. So keep looking at the commands, guys. rmdir will not recursively. If there are children and grandchildren, it will not delete it. So rm-r is recursively deleting all the folders of the directory which are inside it. Is something to be aware of. mkdir-p is the one which is forcing the directories to be created recursively. Humera Sai, doing okay, guys? Quick yes, please. Cool. Okay. And let's say ls-l, we have seen it. Permissions. Okay, thanks. Hidden files, dot files, ls-a, we've seen it. Next, okay. Now, just for the sake of discipline, say ls-a-l. ls space -a space -l. Enter. You can also do the reverse, which is ls space -l-a. -l space -a. Space -a. Cool. So both of them are almost giving the same detailed listing of the long listing of the files. And what did we do? If you notice here, guys, the last two, which is dr1 and h.txt. Can you highlight those two, Rahul? dr1 and h.txt. On the left hand side, notice Ubuntu and Ubuntu. We are logged in as Ubuntu, so we created those files. So that's why we are saying Ubuntu is the username. The first Ubuntu is referring to the username Ubuntu has created that file, is the owner, and the group is also Ubuntu. By default in AWS, it is creating the folder called Ubuntu. Okay, that's something to be kept in mind. Let me see. Move to the next one. Symbolic links. Okay. Let's see. This map. Okay, if I come across anything, okay. Another thing is we did ls-a, ls-a, right? Just type in ll, please. dr1 h.txt has been created. Now type in ls space -ltr. Okay, notice guys, now what is happening is it is giving h.txt followed by dr1. Whatever is the latest file. So let's say one more time, type in history space greater than h2.txt. History space greater than h2.txt. Notice what will happen, guys. And now bring up the ls-ltr. Okay, notice guys, h.txt is on the top, dr1 followed by h2.txt. So ls-ltr, what is it doing is it is giving the order in which we created these files. The latest file we created is h2. Before that we created dr1. Before that we created h.txt. Everybody catching it, guys? Sai, Humera? Cool. Okay. And that is the story of LTR. Let's see what else we have. LATR. I think ls space -latr, LATR. Type in that. So a lot of combinations of these things are there. What we can do, it's also giving you the hidden files. LA means it's also giving the hidden files, dot files. Those are generally not given in LTR, guys. Okay. And ls space -help. If you do this, notice again, this is a hell of a lot of commands. If you scroll up and things like that, all the permutations and the combinations of all these commands, we can go ahead and look at them, read them on a need-to basis. Don't do them on a daily basis. It's not really necessary, guys. On a need-to basis, if you come across something new, something interesting and things like that, we can spend a little bit of time and try to read these things. You don't have to precisely come back here. You can also do a little bit of your own. Google is, of course, the godfather. You will find a group of links. If you're not able to find some immediate help, you can also look at that one, guys. Okay. In some scenarios, you may not have access to the Google and things like that. That's where you can also look at this one. So one more time, let's say, string, color is the output. Let's say ls space -, color. COLOR. dr1 okay. So we don't have a lot of files here. We are seeing some colorizing happening. Directory is coming in blue directory, blue color. Just go to cd space / just type in a ls. Okay, bring it up. Different colors. The greens, slightly light green versus blue and things like that is what it is. Generally, we don't create anything here, but for Just type in again one more time history space greater than h3.txt. Let's see if it takes up a different color here. I think it's going to take over white. h3 greater than h3.txt. So keep referring to your history for the commonly used commands and things like that. That will make you comfortable, guys. Okay, so here, since it's a root user directory, we have to log in as root. I'll slowly come there. I'll slowly show you. But just do a cd, go back to your original thing. And one more time, create mkdir-p d1/d2/d3. Let's see if tree is here. Enter. Enter. -p, sorry, yeah. Enter. I'm sorry. Let's say just type in tree. Sudo apt install tree. Okay, I don't know if it will allow you. Just copy that one, sudo apt install tree. You can, for copying, there you go. Okay. You highlight it and let's say if it's installing. Okay. So apt install, that is a package manager, guys. Now just type in tree. There you go, guys. What tree does is it is giving you a hierarchical view of all the files and the directories. We get a quick feel. So what you do is, let's see, Rahul, type in history space greater than d1/d1/ d1 directory 1 d1 / let's say h4.txt. So we'll save it to that directory. Enter. Now type in tree again. So notice, guys, h4.txt is at the hierarchical level of d1. So tree is a command which is giving you a list of all the view of the directories and the files in a hierarchical way. And we did apt install tree. So tree is a command, you can think of tree as a separate script file, a package or a module, which is getting installed in our local computer. Humera and Sai, are you able to get that? Catching it, guys? Quick yes, please. Okay, that is tree. And let's say type in ls-r space -r. Let's try. So capital R, can you type in capital R? There you go, guys. So it is also giving you a flat view of the directories and what are all the files which are there in that particular directory. Dot is current directory. ./d1 is d1, d2, and d3. Rahul, Sai, Humera, are you catching it, guys? Quick yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. Then let's see what are some other directories. Tree, we have looked at it. Try this one. Just say tree space -C. Another slightly interesting one. Should colorize a little bit more. Not much colors here, not many files and things like that. Otherwise, we may find the video files, audio files, all those things as separate files, guys. Okay. But let's say, what are the other files we have? My Aws. Okay, how about this one? Let's say history space greater than space. Just type in my space notes.txt. My space notes space, leave a space notes.txt. So in other words, we have a space in our file name, and now let's see what happens. Enter. Notice it doesn't take it. So bring up the same upper and put that in quotes, maybe double quotes. Enter. So now say ls ltr. Okay, there you go. So my nodes.txt, say ls space hyphen ltr. So there it is, guys. My nodes.txt is being saved as with a space. That is what is special. So it has put a single quotes there. And let's see what else we have. So now say ls space hyphen l my space nodes.txt. My space nodes. Okay, .txt. So notice enter. Notice it's being okay. No such file or directory. Sorry about that. It says it cannot access. So what you do, you bring the same command up and just put it in a quotes, single quotes or double quotes. Okay, enter. There you go, guys. It is able to list it. It doesn't say it cannot find it, but it's just listing it. Okay, guys. Rahul, okay, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what else we have. See where we are, 11:45. Okay. Okay, so gentlemen, ladies, let's take a short, maybe a 10-minute break. We'll regroup and we'll continue with a little bit of Python. We'll continue with the Linux again tomorrow and go from there. So just support, maybe have a cup of water or tea and come back, guys. Let's take 5 minutes break. Sorry, 10 minutes break. Sorry about that. You can stop the share. Thank you, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so we're back. Let's see, Rahul, Aniket, and Himera. Can you make quick yes, please, if you're back? Change my name. Okay, thank you, guys. So back to a little bit of Python, guys. Let's say, bring up my notebook here. Let's see, copy this one. Copy this, just enter. Paste it here. So, gentlemen, ladies, do any of you are having problems running Python, Anaconda, Jupyter, guys? Could you please type in a yes or no, please? Rahul, how about you, buddy? Are you able to run any of the Python programs? Himera, you're good, right? You're able to run it and things like that, right? No problem, right? Just type in good, please. Himera, are you there? Good. Okay, thank you. Please try to help others, Himera. If any of your colleagues are facing a problem, just keep me posted so that we can help them out and things like that. And let's see where we were last time, guys. Say additions class. Okay. Let's see. And yes. Himera, did you get a chance to practice all of the commands by any chance? In Python? Anybody else practiced? Just give me a yes or no, guys. Okay. So stopping the share again. Sharing the screen. So share. Okay, there you go. Okay, I just wanted to do a quick review. I'm just trying to choose one of you who may have practiced a little bit so that it will be helpful for others. Anybody got a chance to practice this? Any of the Python commands and things like that, Python programs that we've been running and practicing? Okay. Okay. Rahul, are you there, buddy? Rahul, are you there? Looks like Rahul is not there. Aniket, are you there, buddy? On call, I say, multitasking. Let's see who else is here. Okay. Let me see. You can download the Ubuntu VM. I need to give you the AWS access.
Hello, sir. Are you calling me?
Hello.
Hello, I'm Rahul.
Oh, Rahul. Rahul, you already have AWS access, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if others also can be given the AWS access? Is that a yes or no? Others already have it? For labs and things like that, if you have it.
Yes, we all have one account for that.
The AWS, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So you all have the server access, the Ubuntu and things like that?
Yes, yes.
So you should not have any problem practicing the today's commands that we have seen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's a good one. As simple as that. That's what I wanted to quickly check, Rahul. Thank you. And let's see. By any chance, did you happen to practice any of the Python programs and things like that, Rahul? Did you get some time?
Yeah, I have practiced some command.
Okay. Okay. What we'll do, Rahul, is I'll try to ask you some of the questions and things like that, and we'll try to execute a few more programs today. So just see whatever you can answer. You don't have to. Worry about it and things like that. But just try to see if you can reply some of the answers and things like that. Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Okay.
And others, guys, if you can go ahead and type in your answers, give some hints to Rahul and things like that while I'm asking questions. So just show your participation. It will be helpful and useful for you guys. Okay. So Rahul, what do you think is the mantra of a class? What is a class? Others, please try to give some hints, whatever you're able to recall to Rahul and things, guys. I'll give you a hint, Rahul. Here is badminton player. Here is name, rackets, and what is it? Shuttle. Does it remind you of something?
The class we can, we can create object using the class, and inside this class there is one constructor with the variable. We are declaring variable inside the constructor, name, age, and racket.
Okay, good one. So more precisely, class is like an architectural plan. Just like from an architectural plan, we're able to build a house. Class is acting like an architectural plan. So what is the mantra of a house, Rahul? What is house? If architectural plan is class, what is house?
This is a creation of object.
It is an object, as simple as that. What do you think is double underscore in it?
This is a constructor.
Why do you call it constructor?
It's called, when we create object, it's called by default.
At the time we are constructing an object, it is Python is calling it, remember, at the time of calling, creating this object. What is self, Rahul?
Self is itself, means it is referencing itself.
Good. It's called self-referencing variable. SRV is the shortcut, and it is telling you, okay, called self-referencing variable. What is an age and a name?
It is variable.
Yeah, more precisely arguments.
Arguments, yeah.
What is name, age, and brackets?
We are assigning variable. These are local variables, name, age, and bracket.
They're attributes.
They are attributes.
Okay, and let's see. What is racket and shuttle?
Bracket is a list.
Good answer.
Shuttle is a string.
Okay, so a badminton player has a racket and a shuttle. Whatever comes under has becomes attributes, if you recall.
Yes.
Okay. And let's see what else we have. What is the mantra of a list, Rahul?
It is a tray.
It is a
Yes.
tray of.
Tray of different cups.
Good answer. Now, let's see if you're able to catch this one. What is happening in this function, Rahul?
We are changing the global variable, the salesman, and then we are creating some local variables also, and then printing it.
Okay, what is happening with Prabhas and Akshay?
We are swapping the values.
Swapping the values, but do you see anything interesting here in this line?
It must be intended, but not intended, right?
So in other words, this function will not work. Prabhas and Akshay is in a global scope inside a function. You cannot be in the global scope inside a function. Catching it, Rahul?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's see. What is the mantra of global? When we say global like that, what is the mantra?
We are accessing the global variable.
Yeah?
We are accessing the global variable which is outside this method.
Access. And
taking permission to access the global variable.
Permission to modify it, to change it.
Yes.
Do you think this function will work, Rahul?
No. The Prabhas, Shahrukh and Chetan, all this variable must be intended. Then it will work. And
Okay.
print also.
Okay, so take a look at this one. Let us say if I run this one, come here, say come here, paste this one. Prabhas, Akshay, Shahrukh. Okay, so before this one, I also need to create these objects. In other words, more precisely, using a different user account, so I will need to create these things. Prabhas, Akshay. Okay, I'll come back to that later, Rahul. By any chance, do you remember what is the mantra of import?
Importing libraries.
You're importing, okay, the mantra is opening a package.
Opening a package, yeah.
You're opening the toolbox so that you can access the hammer or the screwdriver. What is get CWD?
Current working directory.
In Linux, what is it?
It is PWD.
As simple as that. What is PD here?
Pandas.
It is more precisely a friendly name. Okay.
Yeah, friendly name.
And okay, import pandas. Okay, so when you read CSV, what do you get?
Data frame, which contain tables. Table.
So what is the mantra of a data frame?
It contains rows and columns like table and contain all the data.
It's a tray of different trays. A tray in which you can have tea trays and coffee trays. A tray in which an array in which you can have numerical or textual data.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think is CHDR?
It's changing directory.
In Linux?
In Linux, it is CD.
Okay. What is head?
Head prints the top 5 elements.
Tail?
Last 5 elements.
Very good. What does type give you?
Type of the variable.
Very good.
Whether it is list.
The data type.
Data type, right.
Now here's a tough one. What is info giving you?
It gives all the details of that data frame, like state.
Very good. All the details, and let's say come back here. So I will not try this one. This needs a little initialization. Now take a look at this one, Rahul. This is a slightly confusing, maybe a tough one for you. But let's say if I run this, I'm getting name OS is not defined. What do you think is the problem here?
We must import it first.
Very good.
I believe.
Say import OS and then give this, then it is able to. So what is CHDIR here?
It is changing directory.
More precisely, the function.
Yeah.
What is OS called?
function.
OS is
Right.
called a package, buddy. CHDR is a function inside the package. So
Okay.
the toolbox, inside that there is a tool called a screwdriver or a hammer. Those are nothing but the functions.
Okay.
Okay, and let's say, come back here. So here is stats, let's say. Now come here, stats, PD. Now, can you tell me what is the problem?
We must first need to import pandas as PD.
Import pandas as PD, the friendly name, and then try to run it. Okay, now say stats, you're able to look at the data frame. 195 countries. Let's say here is stats.info. Okay, what did you say this one is? This is called the metadata, buddy. It is giving you everything.
Metadata, right?
Type of the object, how many rows, how many columns, what are the country column names, what are the data types and everything that is referred as metadata, okay?
Okay.
And let's say now here's a slightly deep one or a tough one. By any chance, do you remember what does describe give you? Slightly important one.
It provides the right analysis for that integer data.
Very good. In other words, more precisely, it is giving you the basic statistics.
Yeah.
Why is it giving only for birth rate and internet users? Why not for the other?
Because they are integers and others are string.
More precisely, they are numerical data. You don't perform statistics on textual data.
Right.
Okay, so can you tell me what is this one called? When I do something like this, what do we call this? Let's say back here.
This is slicing.
Good. We're slicing and dicing. Let's see what's the problem here. Okay. Continue. Okay, we missed a small step here. There is a small problem here. By any chance, do you recall what is it?
They contain the spaces.
Good. They contain. But just for the sake of discipline, guys, I will make a small modification just kind of in case there is a space. Now, I think this will work even if there is a space. Sorry, country name, it doesn't work. Why is it not working? Let's say, here I'll copy this one. Let's say, sorry. Now take a look at this more precisely. This is called slicing and dicing. Let us say I just want the country name with the space. For the sake of simplicity, get rid of this one, country space. And run this one. There you go, country space name. It works. When we use a dot, it will not work. When we use a bracket, it will work. But let's add another country space code. There you go. It is working. If you use brackets, it will work. It is something you want to keep in mind. But if you say, now the same thing, take a look at this, guys. We'll copy this one. Paste it here. Just access country name, no problem. But paste it here. Delete this. No problem. Dot country name, it will not work. If you put a space also, it will not work. It's saying invalid syntax because we are using a dot. When we use a bracket like that, it doesn't object us. But when we use a dot, it objects us. That is something to be kept in mind or something to be familiar. Okay, Rahul?
Yes.
Good. So let me go down. Person, we've looked at the class and the mystery global. Yes, we are modifying it. Advanced from it. Yeah, now, Rahul, I'm going to stress you a little bit, buddy. Just hang in there and try your best. Now,
okay.
This kind of argument score, by any chance, you recall? I will give you a hint here. Let us say it is slightly, okay, take a look at these two. There's a subtle difference between these two kinds of arguments. Others, please try to help Rahul if you can, guys. It'll be a good.
Yeah. Previously, they don't have any value assigned, but in the second function, they are default value assigned to N2 and N3.
Very
So
good.
if we don't provide the value, they will take that default value.
Very good. So in other words, this is called default arguments and these are called position arguments, Rahul. Okay, buddy?
Okay.
And what is the advantage of default arguments, you think, Rahul?
Yeah, if we don't provide any value, they will take those default values.
Very good. So in other words, notice here, guys, if you only pass 10, oops, pardon me, if you only pass 10, 20 and 30 are going to be taken from here by default. That is what is the meaning of default. Please keep that in mind, guys. Most of the time you'll be writing functions. These concepts are slightly important or very important. Now, Rahul, here's a slightly tough one, guy, everybody. Let's see if you're able to recall. There is a function for Akshay, Prabhas, and Ranveer. Now I'm trying to indicate a small problem in a function called Amitabh. There is a small problem in this function called Amitabh. Can you recall what is the problem?
Yeah, we need to change this last parameter. Dot.
We need to change the parameters. Okay, is one was okay, good answer. Any other problem? What is the problem with that one? Changing it. Let's say Taj, okay. In other words, let's say I have another function called Shahrukh, and I have 1000 arguments. What is the problem?
We need to provide that 1000 value.
1000 arguments.
Then it will work.
And if we have to provide 1 million, which is ridiculous, which is very, very unproductive. Okay.
Right.
So what do you think we will do, Rahul?
Can use for loop.
Does it give you a hint?
Yeah, we can use this for loop.
In other words,
star variable, right?
we do not pass. Oops, pardon me. Question, Rahul.
Yeah, we can provide the star in before the variable, and we can provide as much value as we want, argument as we want.
Good answer. In other words, that is called variable number of arguments. So you're not telling I'm coming with 1 cup, 2 cups, 10 cups, 100 or 1000. You're telling them I'm coming up with a tray of cups, and that tray can contain any number of cups, which is variable number of cups or variable number of arguments. Catching it, buddy?
Yes.
Now, another tough one, Rahul. Can you explain me what is going on inside the function?
We are looping from 0 to for cup in a tray. So the tray contains multiple values. So we are looping inside the tray and adding this all the values inside this tray.
Good answer.
Using this, yeah.
So no matter
and returning, yeah.
Good. No matter whether we have 10, 100,000 or 1 million, we're taking 1 cup after another cup using the for loop and adding all the cups into a single value. Catching it, Rahul?
Yes.
Okay, good. How about Kajal, Humera? Are you all guys doing okay? Are you all able to follow Rahul, please? Quick yes, please. Humera and Kajal. So Humera and Kajal, tomorrow, just like I'm reviewing Rahul today, I may ask one of you to come online and we'll try to do a little bit of lab and a little bit of Python. Please try to review some of the concepts in a slightly friendly way and try to be ready. On a daily basis, we'll do that because if you also involve and participate, that will be helpful for you. Kajal and Humera, will you guys be preparing a little bit, please? Both Python and a little bit of Linux also. Cool. No answer? Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so variable number of args. That is the concept, viewer. Now let's say Star Trek. Okay, let's say Rahul, a silly and a stupid question, buddy. I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to paste this one. There is a subtle difference between these two functions. Can you catch the difference? It's a silly and a stupid question. You have to forgive me for asking this. Simple one. Can anybody else try to help Rahul, guys? Okay. Okay. So in other words, guys, the logic is same. Create a cup, go to the tray, pick up each cup, add the cups to the teacup, and return the tea. This is also exactly doing the same thing. The logic is the same, but something is different. Are you able to catch it, Rahul?
Ours is a predefined.
More precisely, just said tray. I said arcs. What I said cup. I'm saying N. As simple as it. I'm using different names. You can use your own names and things like that. Generally try to give some meaningful names in a professional word. Catching it, Rahul?
Yes.
As simple as that, guys. Okay. So let's say tuple count. Okay, I think we've seen this one. Okay, I think this is where we were. And just try to hang in there with me, Rahul. I'll just keep you in the loop and we'll try to make this. Now, Rahul, here's a simple one. When I do this, what is happening? These two lines of code.
We are assigning and returning the value.
In other words, we're creating an object. What is the mantra of an object? Friendly mantra. Friendly mantra is it's a cup. You're taking a cup, putting some value inside the cup. Okay, buddy?
Okay.
How about this one, Rahul? It gives me an error. Why?
It is a predefined variable.
The green color and the bold. The moment the Jupyter is giving an indication, it is saying that it's used by Python. It is a reserved keyword. We don't have to remember that it's a reserved keyword, but there are some words which are reserved, is what we need to keep in mind. So now, let's say, if you're able to catch this, Rahul, tell me why we are getting there.
There must be this bracket, around bracket.
Simple as that. So let's say print of, no problem there. And let's see what it's, okay. Now take a look at this. This probably is something simple, okay. What do you think is this one, Rahul?
This directory in the current working directory.
Very good. In Linux?
In Linux it is ls.
As simple as that. That's what we've been looking at today, guys, okay. And let's say import this. Now take a look at this. Run it. So what is dir is? Dir is like the help, like the man in Linux. So it is giving you a list of all the OS is a package. It's a big package. It's a big toolbox. There are different kinds of tools. So these are some classes. Below are some. Generally, if it is starting with a small case, it's a function. If it is starting with a capital, it is most likely another class or maybe another module or a package or other kinds of things. So these are all the list of functions available inside this package called OS. Catching it, Rahul?
Yes.
As simple as that. It's like that one. Now, take a look at this one. Here's another way to get the help. OS question mark, slightly more detailed help is what we have. Let's just scroll down here. Scroll down here. Okay. So if you notice, it is giving a one-line description of each of the functions here. OS question mark. And let's say, escape that. Say vacuum, escape that. Say OS question. This will give you a much more detailed help. So let's say, okay, if you scroll down here, Notice current path, and now it is also giving you the source code of that module. Ideally, the existing packages, the built-in modules and packages, we don't have to worry about looking at the source code and things like that, guys, but just something to keep in mind. Now, Rahul, here's a slightly tough question for you, buddy. What do you think is accept?
If there is any error in the command, then the accept function will.
As simple as that. It is an error that Python compiler does not understand. If you give the proper syntax, Python compiler will understand. If you don't give the proper syntax, it will not understand. In other words, in cricket, you throw a cricket, a bowler is throwing a bowling a cricket ball. You do not bowl or ball a basketball or a shuttlecock to a batsman. What is that? That's an error that we don't understand in cricket. That's an exception. Catching it, Rahul?
Yes.
Very good. Pardon me. By any chance, do you remember what is pass?
Pass means if any error occurs, it will pass without throwing the error.
Good one. You're good. In other words, short and sweet, pass means do nothing. It is not doing anything. It is not showing the error. It is doing nothing and just continuing. Catching it, buddy?
Yes, yes.
Very good. You're good. Okay, now take a look at this, guys. os._file__. If you run this one, what it does is it gives you the source code. This is where the source code of this particular package or module is. It is, again, here and there once in a while. We may want to look at it. It's just a thing to keep in mind, but it is not really. Generally, we don't have to worry that much, guys, okay? And now take a look at this help of OS. Notice what happens. It gives you a much more detailed description of what is inside that. Again, a one-line description of some of the functions, some of the variables. And here is a slightly more detailed function. I think they're giving you an example maybe of each of the functions. So at any point of time, notice star arg, star, we're yet to talk about this star. These are slightly advanced functional concepts. This we discuss, this we will try to discuss today. That's where we are headed. But you will see a lot of modern programmers using this kind of things, guys, okay? It's more of a patternized code. So short and sweet, help of OS is giving you a detailed help on that particular package. Catching it, buddy?
Yes, yes.
And let's see, help of, let's say, PD, that is pandas. And let's see what we have here. And so on. And let's see, okay, now another small thing to be kept in mind. Now take a look at this, guys. When we say help when you execute it, notice 33, 32. What is this? This is executing the commands in Jupyter. Okay, but take a look at this. If you just type in help, and let's say run it, now notice the star. What does the star tell you? The star is indicating that this cell is in progress. Earlier, when you executed help of PD or help of OS, it executed this and the execution got complete. Whereas this one is in progress. What does that mean? What that means is, now notice this. If you type in 1+1, press enter, notice in star. What Jupyter is doing is Jupyter is sequentially executing. Before it executes this one, it waits for this cell to complete. So now take a look at this. If you want, type in OS, it will give you detailed description of the OS. And let's say, here is a detailed description. But notice the star is there, which means the cell is in progress. So what does that mean if you scroll up again? Back here, or maybe I think I need to go down. Okay, now you type in PD. PD pandas. So here you need to give in pandas. And so it gives detailed description of pandas and the help. So in other words, we say we are still in help mode. We have not come out of help mode. So your subsequent, what you do? Say quit. Notice that turns to 34. We're out of the help mode, and the next cell is getting executed. Rahul, are you catching it, buddy?
Yes, yes.
It is something, a small thing here and there. You guys need to be slightly familiar with that. Just once in a while, if somebody uses the help like that, and if you are seeing a stub, that means the previous cell is still processing. It has not yet completed it. So have an idea about that, guys. Now let's see what else we have. Now take a look at this. Here is SQRT 4. Let's run it. What do you think is SQRT, Rahul?
QRT is a square root, but it is not defined.
Very good. So let's say math.sqrt of let's say 4. Now still it is not working. Why, buddy?
Math lab. We first need to import this library.
So notice import math and now say math dot. If you say math dot and do a tab, notice you'll get a lot of functions. These are all mathematical functions. Apart from this, there are tens and hundreds of functions in other packages. Now, if you say SQRT 4, notice it gives you 2, which is a good one. But let's say you say from math import SQRT and then say SQRT of let's say 4. Notice it will work. So from this package, give me the screwdriver. You're opening this toolbox and taking your screwdriver. Then you don't need to give the full path. Sometimes, once in a while, in real world, you may come across some long paths and things like that. In such cases, you can import it once like that individually. Okay, but Rahul, are you with me?
Yes, yes.
Now take a look at math.tab and let's take a slightly simple one. What is cos 0, Rahul? Back to school. What is cos 0?
0, maybe.
Cos 0
forgot.
1. Okay, but take a look at this. Cos of 1. It doesn't work. I'm sorry, cos of 0. It doesn't work. Why?
We first need to we did previously like from math import cos. First we need to do that.
Now say cos of 0, it will work. But what is the problem in this process, Rahul?
We need to import every time we need to use any function.
So what we can do is from math we can say import star and then say sign of 0. Now we'll get a 0. Are you catching the point, Rahul?
Yes, yes.
Sometimes we may individually import only a specific function or 2 or 3 functions. And if we think a lot of functions in that particular package are going to be used, then we can import all of them at one time.
Yeah.
Good. Radians and degree. Okay, good one, Nitish. Back to school and things like that. So again, you can also say, if you want to see a list of all the functions, you can say you have a cos, a sine. These are all the mathematical functions inside the math package or module. You can also say import star. Okay, so now take a look at this, guys. Most of the times in a Linux world, what we'll be doing is we'll write a file. So let's say script.py. Let's create a new text here. Come back here. We'll say, copy this, not here. Say come here. Okay. Let's see. Say welcome to NSC. Is the print is a simple one. Now what we'll do? Say file, save as, say all files, and we'll call this as welcome.py. So we're saving it with a py extension, is what it is. Now what do we do? Let's say we go to the command prompt, type in cmd, there it is, and we need to go to this particular directory. Where is this one? This one is here. So how do we go here? So come back here. And let's say here is NSC. We copy this one. Say F colon, say CD. So now, okay, this is Windows. Windows PWD may not work, but we are in this directory. Now what we'll do, we'll say Python welcome.py. Notice welcome to NSC. What are we doing? We are running a script file, a Python script file. You can complexify You can write whatever you would like here. Python script.py. Now what we'll do, take a look at this. We'll come to, instead of, let's say, NSC. Change this to NSC. Now take a look at this. Import time. We'll come to NSC and time.sleep. Let's see what will happen. We'll copy this one. Change this one, save it. And now run this again. Welcome to NSC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roughly about 4 or 5 is what I counted. It's roughly about 3 to 5 seconds. What is that? That is what the sleep is doing. When we say time.sleep, Python is sleeping for 3 seconds or waiting for 3 seconds. Rahul, are you catching it better?
Yes.
Good. As simple as that, guys. So we can complexify it as much as we want. Let's say come here. Okay. So now take a look at this, guys. We will say def high. What is high here? Rahul?
Your function.
As simple as that. So let's say copy this high and let's save this one. Now take a look at this. I'll run this one. It says welcome to NSC. It came out. Why is it not printing high?
We need to call that function.
Good. Short and sweet. We'll say hi, save it, run it. Notice hi is getting printed. It's sleeping for 3 seconds. We'll change this to maybe, let's say 1 second for the sake of simplicity. Now, so that is what we have. But let's say back here. Okay, create hello.py. Now here is, we'll add another function called hello world. Add another function called hello world. Okay, and let's say, so we saved it to a file called welcome.py, and we are here. This is in our data sets. Okay, we are directly running welcome.py, and let me see what I have here. I'm trying to show you. Okay, ch2. Okay, we'll say. Okay, for the sake of simplicity, let me come back here. I will save this file in as much more comfort so that I don't have to type the full path. We'll go to C drive. Let's say, go to C drive. Let's look for a directory called Psy. So there is Psy. Say Psy Python is here. We'll say welcome nsc.py. Save it here. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll come back to the C drive and say cd Psy. What's that? cd. Oh, sorry. Say C:/. Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. What's that? Oh, say cd space dot dot, cd space dot dot, and here we'll say cd Psy, then say cd Psy Python. Sorry, Psy Python. And if you say dir, notice welcome nsc.py. So now we are in this folder, guys, and let's see back here. Okay, so now here what I'll do is I'll go back to Jupyter, back here. I'll say change the directory. In other words, notice, save the file here. If you say print of os.get cwd. Notice this one, guys. Currently, right now, our Jupyter is pointing to this directory, our data sets. Now what we'll do, we'll tell it change. In other words, copy this. We'll run this one. We're telling the Jupyter, don't point to that directory, point to this directory, because that's where we have a file called welcome nsc. And let's see what we'll do. Come back to welcome nsc, which is here. Welcome nsc. And let's say refresh. Okay, so now what I'll do is, for the sake of simplicity, I'll remove this stuff. So this is a function, this is a file with called as a module. A group of functions can be called as a module, a group of modules can be called as a package. Module and package are sometimes used interchangeably, guys. Okay. So now let's see what's the mantra we can do here. What we'll do is I'll try to call the function hi. Notice it'll give you error. Say hello world. It will not. But what do? We can say import welcome. What is the name of the file? NSC. Welcome NSC. Now notice. Say hi. Sorry. Hi is not defined. Welcome NSC. What's that? I will try. And if you come back here, let me see. Oh, sorry. Import welcome as W. I'll give a friendly name. And now what we'll say? Just try hi, maybe not work. Okay, we'll say W dot, do a tab. Here's hi. Notice we're able to call it. Say W dot hello world. We're able to call it. Rahul, are you able to understand that, buddy? How about others? Cool. So let's say come back here. Back to the tool. Say blanket. Choose this one. So here is the laptop. In the laptop, I was in a directory. Let us say in an F drive. Let's choose this one. Here's the F drive. And let's say here is the C drive. The green one is the C drive. And let's say take the Jupyter. Let's take this one. The Jupyter was pointing to this one originally. And then I've tried to some particular folder. Oops. So come here. It was pointing to this one. So what I have done is we have created a file called welcome.py. What is it? That we are calling it as a module. A module is a file or is a file with a group of functions generally used. A team, in a team, generally when we write functions, guys, we'll save it to a file. What Rahul has written, Nitish can reuse it. He doesn't need to rewrite again. So what do? Common functions which are generally useful and helpful, we'll put them in a module and we'll be sharing it across our team. So what is that? That is what this one is. This is a file. So what we did was we told Jupyter, point to this folder, this directory, and then what we are trying to do is we are trying to execute in Jupyter. And what are we executing? We are executing functions inside this one. That is what we are trying to do at a conceptual level. For that, you need to change the directory. And what are we doing? Rahul, are you catching it, buddy? We're importing the files. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay. So now there is hello world. Now take a look at this, guys. Here is by. There's another. Let's say we'll add it here for sake of simplicity. Here is by. Now come back to Jupyter and say h dot, do a tab. Give it a moment. Oh, sorry, not h, it's w. W dot, do a tab. Notice you're only able to see hello world and hi. If you try to type in by, it will give you an error. Why? We have already imported it, which means Jupyter has added the two functions, hi and hello world earlier. By is a new function which we just modified or which we just added. So what should you do? You need to re-add it. In other words, more precisely, you can reload it. How do you reload it is, you say import him. Say import him is the modular package. Say reload, oops. Reload W. And now say W dot, do a tab. Notice we're able to see by. Rahul, are you able to catch that, buddy? Are you there, buddy? How about Nitish, Rumera? Are you able to understand that? Okay, good one. So here and there, once in a while, you might come across that scenario. when let's say you're using a module, somebody else added something else. So they may want you to reload it. So in such case, we'll use a module or a package called IMP. That's what that is. Let's see what else we have. So if you come back to the class, guys, a class has a name, a car has a name, a car has a make, a car has a colors. It can come in a white color, black color, or a blue color. That's why we have designed colors as a list object. Name and make are string or textual data, they are our coffee cups. Everybody okay with this one? Class car, quickest please. Okay. So take a look at this class house. A house has a name, a foundation, bedrooms, kitchen, dining, bathrooms. So what is it? Here is Sumit's house. Sumit's house is an object. We are creating an object. Brinda, his house name, and a list object. Foundation is made. The house is constructed from bricks, sand, water, and cement. So foundation is bricks, guys. And so in other words, what is this one? What I'm trying to convey here is, so I come back here. So come here. So take a look at this. Brinda is name. This list object is the foundation. Number of bedrooms is 3. Classic. Then dining room is modern. Bathrooms is 3. What we have done is we have designed a house here, a class house, and then Sumit is the object name or the house name. Nitish, catching it, buddy? Okay, now take a look at this, Nitish. Let's see, Nitish, can you tell me what is going on here in these 2 lines of code? Take a guess. Anybody else? Short and sweet, we are changing the name of the house. So originally it is Brinda. Now we are changing it to Brindavana. As simple as that. Catching it, guys, quick yes, please. You can change the data, you can change the attributes. Foundation of the house was from bricks, sand, water, and cement. But what are we doing? We are now changing it from bricks to modern bricks. So we are accessing the trick, which is a list object. Change the bricks to modern bricks. What is this? You can change the attributes. You change it to modern bricks, then again you are changing it to cement bricks. Changing the data, changing the attribute is a concept. The way we are changing is slightly different. You're accessing the list object, changing the list object, or you can directly change it like that. Changing it, buddy. Cool. Okay. Let's see what else we have. So again, now take a look at this, guys. A house can have name, foundation, bedrooms, kitchen, dining room, bathrooms, and pens. For pens, what is this one, guys? What is tray pens? What is this kind of an object? Rahul, Nitish, Humera, it's a dictionary. What is the mother of a dictionary? Key and value, cap and a pen. What kind of an object is iTray? Tuple. What is the mantra of tuple? Immutable. Good one, guys. Okay, as simple as that. So whether you want a dictionary, whether you want a tuple is up to you. Even if you put it wrongly, later you can change it, which is okay. It doesn't mean we have to design it wrongly, but you try to put as much meaningfully as possible. If you think something doesn't change, then put it as tuple. If you think there is a chance of a change, then maybe you can use a list or a dictionary. Okay, then again, notice the same thing. For a cricket player, awards I have given it as a list. Jerseys I have given it as a table. Jersey numbers I have given it as a dictionary. That is up to you. What is the mantra of a set, guys? Mantra of a set. No repeat, or in other words, unique elements or no duplicates. So cricket player has name, age, awards, jerseys, jersey numbers, records. Records is a set object. Coffee cups is a, what kind of a object is coffee cups, guys? Tough question. Let's see if you're able to answer this. What kind of an object is this? The hint is on the screen, but it is slightly confusing. Okay, let's say Rahul, Nitish. Simple answer. The hint is on the screen. I'm just confusing you. It is same as set. Same as set. A set also will open with a flower bracket, but no key and value, just the cups. Nescafe brews Sunrise Nescafe. So 2 Nescafes will be reduced to 1 Nescafe because set is removing it. It will look like a dictionary, but it is actually a set. It's like a tray with unique elements. Catching it, guys. Quick yes, please. Good. Cool. Let's say back to the person now. Let's say now, gentlemen, ladies, what is eat, play, and exercise called? Eat, play, and exercise is called what? Methods. As simple as that. Cool. Let's say what else we have. Exercise. Now, gentlemen, ladies, let's take a look at this one. Here is person. A person has name, age, and salary. A person will eat, play, and exercise. And now there is another method called get name. Let's see what's special here. Back to Jupyter. No problem. Notice, guys, in a Jupyter cell now, until now, we've been typing one line of code. Suddenly we have jumped to roughly 15 lines of code. The cell is acting like a program by itself. Now what we'll do here is Sachin, or let's say person. Here is Sai. We're creating an object of Sai. Now take a look at this. Say p1 dot name. You get the name Sai. What we'll do, we'll say p1 dot name equals to Sachin. So we are changing his name to Sachin. We're accessing the name. It is changed to, from Sai, it has changed to Sachin. Everybody with me. Quick yes, please. Rahul, Nitish. Good. Now take a look at this. Say p1 dot, do a tab. Notice you also have age, eat, exercise, get name. Oops, here is get name. Let's run. Notice it's giving you Sachin. So what is get name? Get name is a method which is returning you an attribute. What do we do? In real world, generally, you don't access the attributes directly. You always use them via methods. It is always a good practice, use a method. Don't use the attributes directly. Catching it, guys. Quick yes, please. Okay, so now, here is a slightly deep one, slightly tough one. One moment, please. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Take a look at this. Back to now. So now what is happening is we're able to access the name attribute directly. Okay, but let's say we'll take the same person. Name is okay, but let's add another thing called self dot double underscore password equals to, let's say, comma a password. Oops, a password. And let's say we call this as a password. Now come down here, and what we'll do, we'll say change this to Sachin. Here is Sachin. Sachin will change his name to Tendulkar and we'll add a password. This password is, let's say, Sai. Okay, so now let's see what happens, guys. Class person will create an object of Sachin. Say, come here. Okay, now say Sachin dot tab. Notice here is name. Name, no problem. Sachin, what did we do? We'll say double underscore P password. Now notice it will give you an error. If you look at the class has something called double underscore password, which is an attribute. Now what have we done? We are not allowing the object to access the data of the attribute. How do you do that? You secure it. How do you secure it? That is double underscore. What is double underscore? Double underscore is called private variable. In a computer science background, we call that as a private variable. If you don't give double underscore, these are called public variables. A person's name, age can be public. Salary and password have to be private. We don't need to know, or we don't know others' salary and passwords. They are supposed to be private. Everybody catching it, guys? How do you make them private? You put a double underscore. Okay, so let us say you really have a need for the people to know the password for a salary. What do? Let's say copy this one more time, paste it here, and what you do is you provide a method, say def get password, colon, say return self dot double underscore password, and put self here. Okay, and now say come here, copy this one back here. Let's run it. Say Sachin dot double underscore password. We'll give you an error. So what should you do? Don't access the data or the attribute directly. Say get password. You're able to get it. What is this? You are wrapping around an attribute. We are securing the data of the variable and you're wrapping around it inside a method. This is called encapsulation. Catching it, guys? These are one of the core principles of object-oriented programming language. Most of the times in real world, you will see people, when they're dealing with sensitive data, they provide these methods to access the attributes. This is called encapsulation. Something I will force you to remember, something slightly important. We all need to have an idea about that one, guys. Cool. Quick yes, please. Get name, set name. Okay. Gentlemen, ladies, for today, I'll stop it here. Any questions before we wrap up today, guys? If time permits, please try to practice a little bit of Python. Tomorrow, we'll take a little bit of each other. And I will, just like we interacted with Rahul, we'll keep the interaction going. We'll try to dig into a little bit more and a few more concepts, guys. Everybody okay with that? Cool, great. Okay, Kajal, Humera, I will choose one of you. Please try to practice a little bit and try to hang in there, guys. And yeah, and some of the commands we practiced on Linux, see if you can access your AWS server. And if you're able to access them, keep me posted. And if not, we'll try to do some work around about that. Okay, guys. You guys take care, stay safe, keep learning. And if time permits, please try to practice, guys. Okay. Signing off for today. You guys take care again. Stay safe, guys. Thank you and bye for now. Thank you again. Thank you, guys.